Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and welcome to my top 10 list of films that need physical media releases. Those damn streaming films that we can't have in DVD, Blu-ray or 4K format. So let's get into it and discuss these films. So the first film on this list, in number 10 from 2017, October the 13th, is The Babysitter, a film starring Samara Weaving that appeared on Netflix and was popular enough to get itself a sequel as well. This film here is a sort of horror comedy about these kids that are babysat, and the babysitter goes wild, and they try and kill the kids, and they have to survive, and all this sort of stuff. It's a fun movie, kind of in the vein of something like Happy Death Day, tonally like that sort of a movie, and certainly a film along with its sequel that should or would benefit having a physical media release. And then in ninth spot, we have The Adam Project. Yes, from March the 11th, 2022, starring Ryan Reynolds, Mark Ruffalo, and directed by Sean Levy. This is a time travel caper with Ryan Reynolds in the main role, where he is a pilot and he arrives back in time to prevent something from happening in the future, and he enlists his younger self to help him out to accomplish what he needs to accomplish. Again, it was a film that was fun, it was frenetic, it had some energy to it. It was amusing to see Ryan Reynolds play off against this kid that was his younger self, that was actually very good in the role. And why haven't we got this film? I'll be saying that to all of these on the list. Why haven't we got this film? That was a solid film. And then in eighth spot, from 2020, we have Greyhound. Greyhound is a Tom Hanks movie. It's a film that was available on Apple TV and only been available on Apple TV. It's a film about a World War II boat captain who has to escort a convoy of vessels, all while being hunted by a submarine, a German U-boat that wants to blow them out of the water, essentially. It's all very much focused around Tom Hanks, all filmed around Tom Hanks, all filmed on board his ship, so there is a kind of claustrophobic feel to it. The film doesn't really step away from him, his bridge, his ship. It all takes place in and around, centres around him. And it's a fantastic film, and unfortunately, being on Apple, I feel that these films go missed by a lot of people. People don't get the opportunity to see them. There we go. Then in seventh spot, we have Blonde, starring Ana de Armas from 2022. Now, this film is a fictionalised chronicle of Marilyn Monroe. It's not it's not to be taken seriously in the sense this is really what happened with her. This is exactly a biopic of her. It's a fictionalised biopic. It is based upon a book that was written, and that in its turn, it upset a few people. They didn't like it for that reason, but you've got to go in knowing that. That being said, it is a very arty film. It's a very beautiful looking film, black and white. You know, it seamlessly branches from black and white to colour scenes. You don't even realise this has taken place when you're watching the film. Ana de Armas is fantastic in the film. So chameleonic. She just steps into this role of Marilyn Monroe, and Ana de Armas is very strong actress, very up and coming. You know, it's been great seeing her growth over the years. Now, this is a Netflix film. Like I said, it came out in earlier 2022, but this is one that I'd like to see released like what they did with The Irishman. You know, under that label, it would benefit that kind of a release. It certainly would. And in sixth place, from July the 13th, 22, and directed by the Russo brothers, who brought us the last two Avenger movies, as well as Captain America Winter Soldier, Civil War. It's The Grey Man, starring Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas again, and Billy Bob Thornton. And it's about these two hitmen that, you know, one has to go after the other one and all this sort of stuff. And it's a fast-paced, action-packed movie. It is CGI heavy, yes, but you've got Ryan Gosling, who is fantastic in this role. You've got Chris Evans, who just hams up the screen as the villain. And you know, you've got a great concept, you've got a great cast in these four main players, and it all comes together nicely in a very fun, enjoyable, violent comic book kind of a romp that is just, yeah, superb. And drop into 5th place, now 2019, March 24th, we got Togo on Disney Plus. Yes, now Togo was one of Disney Plus's first films, films that they released on there, along with Lady and the Tramp was around that time as well. Lady and the Tramp doesn't make this list, but Togo is a film starring Willem Dafoe, and it's set in 1925, and it's about this husky, this dog that has to do this serum run across like Antarctic, across the snow, but the dog's deemed too weak to be able to do it. You can see where the story's going, this kind of a man and animal against nature. It's a beautifully shot film. Willem Dafoe was fantastic in the role. It's a heartfelt movie. Funnily enough, around the same time we did get that Harrison Ford movie come out, the Call of the Wild, was it? But this is far superior to that, 100 times better. Togo is a film that if you haven't watched, I really highly recommend it. It's a fabulous film, and you know, 2019, and you know, Disney are never releasing this stuff onto physical media, we know that. And then drop into 4th spot, and probably my favourite film of the year, or one of my favourite films of the year, All Quiet on the Western Front. Yeah, this came at us on August 28th, 2022 on Netflix. It's a German film. It's about fighting in the trenches in World War One. It's based on a book that was actually written by a survivor of the German trenches. The film has been made before, but this new version of it was fabulous to watch. I'd gone into it not knowing what to expect. There is a German version and there is an English dubbed version. The German version is my preferred go-to version, because then I feel that I'm sort of connecting more with the characters involved in the film, and the film is just it's beautifully shot, and it really does highlight the futility of war. It just, you get a sense of what these people went through from a young age when they first joined the army. I mean, they're still young when they come towards the end of the film, but you know, they're all full of life, full of, you know, so happy to be fighting for their country, and yet their dreams and harsh realities that they face, they're decimated by what goes on, and by the end of the film you're left with them in far different places than what they are at the beginning of the film, those that survive anyway. And then you get newbies coming in, and you see that mirror image of this is how you was compared to this is how you're going to be. And like I said, the futility of war. It's a sad film, but it's an astounding movie, it really is. Then drop into 3rd place, Tomorrow War, which came out on July the 2nd. Now, Tomorrow War is a film that stars Chris Pratt and Yvonne Strahovski. Again, a film that just went to streaming. It's a film that is about time travel again in its concept, in that there's this war taking place in the future with this alien race, and the future humans are actually drafting people from the past, from today, to go and fight in this future war, hence the film's title. I don't know why this film went straight to streaming. It certainly feels like a big budget cinematic experience. The film has a lot to offer. Chris Pratt is on top form in it. Yvonne Strahovski, who used to star in the TV series Chuck with Zachary Levi. It's great to see her again in a role. Again, a very, very good, expensive, all money up there on the screen film that feels like a theatrical effort. Then we drop to my 2nd spot, and this here made my top 10 films of the year, and that is Spirited. Yes, the new Christmas musical that came out on November the 18th, again on Apple TV, starring Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, produced by Will Ferrell, the King of Christmas of Elf fame. And this is kind of like a retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, but turns it on its head somewhat in that it's set during modern day. The Charles Dickens stuff did happen in the past, and we've got Will Ferrell as the ghost of Christmas Present, and it's not so much about him reforming an individual that he finds now of Ryan Reynolds, but they go on a journey of reform together, and that Ryan Reynolds needs to be reformed, and Will Ferrell as the ghost of Christmas Present has the opportunity to live out his life on Earth, because he's done his time as a spirit doing this work, and whether he feels ready to be able to do that, whether he's redeemed himself enough to be able to step out of doing what he does, whether he's actually worked enough and earned it, or whether he's still the person he used to be. And it's a fantastic film with some fantastic dance choreography in it, some fantastic songs. It's colourful, it's vibrant. The film isn't for everyone, I get that. There is a certain heart to the story. There's far more depth to the story than what's first appears to be. And all I can say is, again, it's a shame that this film is on Apple TV, which I don't perceive a lot of people to have. So the film will go wholly unmissed by generations of individuals, generation of people who have favourite Christmas films to go to. It needs a physical media release. End of story. And then drop into my number one spot, and this is probably going to be a no surprise to anyone. It's a film that came out on August the 5th of 2022, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, and it is the movie Prey. Yes, on Disney or Hulu. The new instalment in the Predator franchise, where we have a predator arriving on Earth several hundred years ago in the Americas, when it was Native Americans over there, and it follows this young girl who wants to prove herself as a hunter. And it follows her and her duel against facing off this predator. Now, this film here, the Predator franchise has been very up and down in the past. They've struggled with it, but with this one, they've done the right thing. They've done something that they should have done a long time ago. Something that was teased at the end of Predator 2, and that's the fact that predators have been coming to our planet for a long, long time, hunting. Now, Dark Horse Comics, when they had the rights to the Predator for a long time, and were doing Predator comics from the early 90s, they've always done stories set in different time frames, in different time eras, and it's about time that the film was actually caught up and done that. So this was a nice sort of return to form with the Predator franchise, and an enjoyable film at that. And yes, and again, this is a film that made my top 10 movies of the year. Of course it is. I mean, I love the Predator franchise, and it was just fantastic to see it back. But there we go. So there's a list of 10 films that I personally would like to see get a physical media release at some point in the future. However likely that will be is another question. Obviously not very likely with some of them. I could see some of them come in, like Blonde, to maybe the Criterion release like they did with The Irishman, like I said. But there we go. So do you know any other films? Are there any other films that went straight to streaming that haven't yet got a physical media release that you would like to see given one? Something that I've missed off of this list, because I'm sure there are a few others. I know there are. So let me know in the comments down below. But I think we can all agree that it's quite sad times when these films are going straight to streaming with no sign of a physical media release. We know that it's not happening because the future is streaming. It is not on physical media. For me personally, I have to rely with bootlegs. I won't go streaming. I'll watch them when they first come out, but I like to have a physical copy of these films in my hand. And if I have to go the streaming route, then that's the way it has to be, unfortunately. Till these companies get their act together and realise that there is a market for these films. So there we go. So there's my top 10 list. So thank you for watching. I will be back in a week's time with another top 10, and this time it's going to be the top 10 TV shows that need a physical release. Yes, now I know I could fill it with Marvel and DC content. Sorry, Marvel and Star Wars content, not DC. They're pretty good with their stuff. But I promise you that it won't be. That's far too easy to do. This is AJ. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you on the next one.